Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 9th of July, comes to you from London. And we look at the dollar again, holding on to its gains, just steadily moving up the hill here. So, still looking pretty bullish on the short and medium term charts. Looking at the euro dollar, that's consequently looking weaker as we see that stronger dollar, and against the yen, dollar also rising. A lot of this dollar rise being attributed to the spectre of lower interest rates in the US starting to just come off the agenda a little bit. And we see sterling hitting new lows against the dollar at 124.80, so we're through that 125 level for the first time now in a good couple of years. So we're back to 2017 really. So sterling is unwinding, and if we look at sterling against the euro, we're sitting at 111 here. Also just looking weaker as well. So we are just pushing lower there on the sterling chart. And against the Swiss franc, it's really showing up as well, sitting at 124. Medium and long-term bearish, quite big falls again this morning. So sterling not looking strong. Bitcoin is above the $12,000 level. Looks like we're really reaching for the sky now on Bitcoin. If we hold these levels this week, we'll get a new weekly high. It really does look like we're through on the cloud, finding support back on the cloud, and then running away again on the lagging line there. So looking pretty strong on Bitcoin. We've got some pretty amazing targets, 8 and 20% upside targets. No targets on the short-term chart. Keep an eye on the 1 minute if you're trading Bitcoin. The S&P 500 index is down 0.5% last night, so we are just seeing the market struggling still on the failure of trade talks to really go anywhere. Nasdaq was down as well, and the Dow down 0.4%. The Russell 2000 index, the broader based index, also struggled, down nearly 1%, and nowhere near making a new high. So this is our breadth indicator that the market is probably just looking a little bit weaker there. The futures down further this morning. The S&P 500 down 0.4%. The Nasdaq E-mini down over 0.5%. So we will see the US market open lower today. The UK market is actually only down slightly, and the mid-caps also down about 0.25%. That weaker sterling filters through, of course, with about 70% of UK companies' earnings in non-sterling denominated currency. So we're seeing the FTSE getting a little bit of a lift there on weaker sterling, but that doesn't filter through to the mid-caps. The DAX is down 0.75%, and the CAC 40 down only 0.2%. Tokyo was down 0.16%, and Hang Seng was down 0.75%, just starting to look like it's coming into negative territory on the short term. Medium and long term still looking pretty bearish, and China also just struggling, and it continues to be in bearish territory, medium, short, and long term. So we are still seeing that China failure to really take off at the start of the year coming back to bite us. We do have an upside target, but we do have a new downside target. Still looks like risk to the downside for the Chinese market. The Indian market was not so badly hit, but it is in bearish territory at the moment on the short-term chart, and the Aussie market just holding on reasonably well. Brent crude sitting at $64, not really moving anywhere, and WTI sitting at $57, down a bit more this morning. Crude oil is entering its weak point of the year, so we shouldn't be surprised to see crude falling away. US nat gas down 0.75% back into the 230s, so that move to the 240s very short-lived. Gold sitting at 1392. So we're back below the 1400 level. That's just leaving us short-term bearish, but the long-term and medium-term charts still very much intact. Silver is actually up 0.33% this morning, but short-term bearish as well. And US 10-year yields recovering to 2.06% as the spectre of interest rate rises, interest rate falls, starts to disappear. Looking at the stocks themselves, this data coming to you from Yahoo Finance, we see here a sea of red, really. Central American markets actually look pretty good, but mostly we saw markets falling away on the trade hope talks. The best performer in the Dow 30 was Nike, up nearly 2% yesterday. This chart looking pretty good. Got good upside targets. We're outperforming the Dow by 4% this year. It was higher, but we are just holding on there. The worst performer yesterday was actually Apple. They were down 2%. Tech being more badly hit there, so seeing that filtering through as well. So quite key there. Looking at the Nasdaq 100, we saw Facebook. They were down 1/3%, so not fully recovering there. And if we look at the best performers, we see not as many good performers as the downside. Activision Blizzard down 3.5%, so quite a big fall there, underperforming the Dow by 14% this year. Taking a look at the Aussie market, the best performer was Sierra Resources, often in the leaderboard, although the chart is pretty terrible. So that's interesting that the trend is down, but we get these counter trend moves. Breville Group were up 6%. So again, this chart actually looking pretty good. Taking a look at the downside, we had Afterpay Touch Group, again, often in the leaders or laggards board, but the chart's still looking pretty good. Outperforming the Dow this year by 86%. You can't say boo to that. Chinese market was pretty mixed, as we saw, and in India, the Nifty 50 Bajaj Finance Limited were the best performer, up 5%. Chart still holding on to its gains. We did have a pretty bad week last week, and we're recovering a little bit this week. And on the upside, we've got Titan, on the downside, sorry, Titan Group down 12%, really taking a dive here. Here we see the live pricing coming in from Yahoo Finance. Taking a look at the European market now. First of all, we look at the UK market. Top performer is Ocado Group, up 5.7%. They've reported this morning that their fire will cost 100 million, but it's covered by insurance. So they're looking pretty strong indeed, outperforming the Dow this year by 30%. Was as much as 50% at one stage. We've just come back, but we've still got great upside targets here for Ocado. On the downside, we've got Melrose Industries. They're down 6%, and that chart looking pretty bearish now, medium term, and the relative just breaking down as well. Taking a look at the 250, the mid caps in the UK market, we've got Viva Energy. They're up nearly 4% this morning. Chart's not really looking that great. Dechra Pharmaceuticals up 2%. Their chart is holding on. Taking a look at the downside here, Just Eat, the worst performer, down 4%. And so that's we're seeing that hitting the stock quite badly this morning. The Euro stocks 650. If we just look at the top 50 stocks here, Adidas the best performer this morning, up 1%. This chart going to the moon still looks amazing. Really one of the best looking charts in Europe. No surprises that it's leading the pack. We're seeing energy stocks here, NL, NA, Engie, Iberdrola. We're seeing quite a lot of these stocks leading this morning. On the downside in Europe, we've got SocGen. Banks being hit quite hard this morning. We've got SocGen down 2%, BNP Paribas, all in the wake of Deutsche's announcement, really, down 1.5% there. ING Group down 1.3%. So we are seeing that. We're also seeing the car makers, so BMW down 1%, Daimler down 1%. So these stocks all continue to be hit. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.